Lesson 7-3, Multiplication Properties of Exponents. Today we are going to use multiplication properties of exponents to evaluate and simplify expressions. Property number 4. Complete this property on your handout sheet. Copy the words and at least 2 examples. Pause the video at this time. Property number 5. Complete the words and at least 2 examples on your handout sheet. Pause the video at this time. Property number 6. Complete the words and at least 2 examples on your handout sheet. Pause the video at this time. In yesterday's lesson for 7-1, we talked about simplifying exponential expressions. You should have copied these to your paper at that time. So feel free to copy them again or just pay attention and be careful that all your answers are in simplified form. An exponential expression is in completely simplified form if the following things occur. You should have no negative exponents. The same base does not appear more than once in a product or quotient. No powers are raised to powers. No products are raised to powers, no quotients are raised to powers, and numerical coefficients in a quotient do not have any common factors other than 1. Example number 1. We have 3 squared times 3 to the 5th. Look at the exponent properties to determine which one we will use. This is property number 4. We have like bases, so we will add the exponents. So 3 squared times 3 to the 5th becomes 3 to the 2 plus 5, and so that gives us 7. Notice we did not multiply 3 times 3 and raise that to the 7th power. If we have like bases, we just add the exponents. 3 to the 7th equals 2,187. You may write your answers out if it is 4 or fewer digits. Keep it in exponent form if it's 5 or more. We will look at why many of these properties work. Feel free to copy this information to your paper if you need. Otherwise, just pay attention and know why it works. It helps you understand the property. So here we have 3 squared times 3 to the 5th. If we write out using repeated multiplication, we can count that there are 7 3's multiplied together. So 3 to the 7th is the simplest way to write that. Example number 2. We have 3 to the 4th raised to the 5th power. Here we have a power to a power. That is property number 5. Property number 5 says if you have a power to power, you multiply. Notice how I'm stressing the P. Power to power, multiply. That way it'll help you remember you multiply 4 times 5 to simplify. So we have 3 to the 20th. You can leave this answer in this form because the answer is more than 5 digits. This property works because if you're using repeated multiplication, you can write out 3 to the 4th 5 times, and then write out again using repeated multiplication. 3 to the 4th is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. And then you may count 20 of those 3's. So that would be written 3 to the 20th. Example number 3. We have negative 5y, all of that squared. Look at the properties and determine which one we'll use. Notice this one is property number 6. You will apply the exponent to each factor. So the negative 5 is squared and the y is squared. Notice the -5 is in parentheses, and that will be important for correctly simplifying your answers. -5 squared is 25. So our final answer is 25y squared. This property works by, again, using repeated multiplication. -5y squared, write that out 2 times. You can use the commutative property of multiplication to rearrange and do -5 times -5 and y times y. And we see our answer is the same, 25y squared. Example number 4. Here we have m to the 4th times n to the 5th times m. In this example, we will use property number 4. It says when we have like bases, we add the exponents. But notice in this problem, some of the bases are m's and one of them is an n. We will only add the exponents of the like bases. So here we have m to the 4th and m to the 1st. There's an understood exponent of a 1. So add those exponents and we get m to the 5th. So m to the 5th, n to the 5th is our final answer. Again, using repeated multiplication, we can see how this property works. Example number 5. We have m to the -6 to the -3rd. Take a look at the exponent properties to determine which one we will use. This is property number 5. We have a power to a power, so we multiply. So -6 times -3 gives us a positive 18. So our final answer is m to the 18th. Example number 6. 3c, all of that raised to the 5th power. Look at our properties and see that we are going to use property number 6. Each factor of the problem will get the 5th power. Apply that exponent to the 3 and the c. 3 to the 5th is 243. C to the 5th is our final answer. Do not confuse this property with the distributive property. We're applying the exponent to each factor, not distributing. Again, showing repeated multiplication, you can see how this property works. Example number 7. We have n to the 3rd to the 4th times n to the -2 to the -3rd. Take this problem one step at a time. Notice first you're going to need to use property number 5. A power to a power you multiply. So 3 times 4 and -2 times -3 gives us n to the 12th, n to the 6th. We now see we have like bases, so we will add our exponents using property number 4. So 12 plus 6 gives us 18. So our final answer is n to the 18th. Example number 8. We have j to the 6th, k to the 3rd, all raised to the 2nd power. Here again, take it a step at a time. Notice first we're going to use property number 6. We're going to apply that exponent to each factor in the parentheses. J to the 6th gets squared, k to the 3rd gets squared. Do not call this the distributive property. Distributing would be multiplying across a plus or a minus sign in a parentheses. We are only applying the exponent to each factor. Now we have a power to a power. So that is property number 5. Remember, a power to power you multiply. Stress those P's so it helps you remember. So 6 times 2 and 3 times 2, we get j to the 12th, k to the 6th. Notice here we will stop with this being our final answer. We cannot use property number 4 because we must have like bases in order to add our exponents. Example number 9. We have 3 squared to the 4th power times 3 to the 3rd squared. Start with property number 5. We have a power to a power, so we multiply. So 2 times 4 and 3 times 2. So we now have 3 to the 8th, 3 to the 6th. Now that we have like bases, you will add your exponents. 8 plus 6. So we have 3 to the 14th. Notice here we used our exponent properties to simplify. You should not just be punching it into a calculator and giving me your final answer. You will be able to leave this answer in exponent form. If it's 4 digits or fewer, you'll write it. But in this case, if it's 5 digits or more, leave it as an exponent. Example number 10. We have 2 to the 3rd times w to the 5th, all raised to the 4th power. We'll first start with property number 6. Apply the exponent to each factor in the parentheses. So the 2 to the 3rd gets the 4th power, the w to the 5th gets the 4th power. Now we have a power to a power, so we will multiply. So 3 times 4 and 5 times 4. 3 times 4 gives us 12, and 5 times 4 gives us 20. So we have 2 to the 12th, w to the 20th. 2 to the 12th is 4,096. You will need to simplify this because it's 4 digits or fewer. So this concludes Lesson 7-3, Multiplication Properties of Exponents. We have used multiplication properties of exponents to evaluate and simplify expressions.